I want to go through something pretty interesting that may be happening this year with Call of Duty 2020, and especially with the continuation of Modern Warfare. So Activision's investor call yesterday revealed a bunch of different stuff, and actually the lack thereof of, let's say, the reveal of what development team is going to be making this Call of Duty is a huge indicator as to what may be going on, and a bunch of the statements they actually brought about, and what we'll go through within this video, Modern Warfare, being the best-selling game of this console generation, and the fact that they're projecting Call of Duty 2020 to not sell as much. And there's a bunch of different factors here that makes it seem like Activision is really going to continue to put more effort into Modern Warfare than whatever COD 2020 may or may not be. And honestly, it's up in the air as to what is going on with that game, but let's go through the information here. So I'm going to go through this quick. Most of you guys do know this already. It's pretty self-explanatory here. Activision confirms new Call of Duty game coming this fall. The company has declined to say which development teams are working on the game. Again, every year at the Activision investor call, they reveal the development team that's going to be working on this game, the next Call of Duty, and they haven't done it this time for the first time, I'm pretty sure forever. That's a huge deal because there was a leak last year that we obviously heard Treyarch is going to be taking over Sledgehammer Games. Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software were supposed to be developing Call of Duty 2020, and there were some internal fights between the studios. The development cycle for this game, Call of Duty 2020, was just not doing too well, and Treyarch had to take over. So according to the leak, it was Treyarch as the lead development team, and then Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software also helping them out. But now, in this tweet here, is saying like, oh, we're getting a Call of Duty game, but a bunch of the other tweets after this as well, and what they went through in the investor call, they're really trying to downplay this year's Call of Duty. For one, the fact that they're not saying which development teams are working on the game is a bit of a scary situation, because at least, from the leak, it said there was 3 development teams. Might as well just come out and say, okay, Treyarch's working on it, big news. We know you guys saw the leak, but let's confirm it now, and also it's going to be Sledgehammer and Raven. Might as well just announce that. So the fact that they're not announcing that means that Call of Duty 2020 is definitely having some development issues right now. They're going to downplay the release, and let's go through why this is happening here. We'll go through information. So Activision says the new Call of Duty game has generated high interest internally, and that we feel great about the content it brings. I'll get back to that statement in a second, because that's obviously something they say every year. It's not that big of a deal. I want to focus on them downplaying COD 2020. Here's the thing. This is one of the main tweets I would look at if you want to believe that COD 2020 is just going to be the secondary Call of Duty. Activision says they don't expect Call of Duty 2020 to generate as much money as Call of Duty Modern Warfare did at launch. Activision said they didn't expect Modern Warfare to generate more revenue than Black Ops 4, and then it did. So now Modern Warfare is the most successful COD of this console generation, so it could be them being cautious to investors. Now, this could mean one of two things. For one, Modern Warfare pretty much sold so much money that COD 2020 being expected to not sell as much isn't necessarily a bad thing. COD 2020 is really just expected to sell like the average amount a Call of Duty game sells, and Modern Warfare just blew it out of the water. It was just a fluke. It was just something that was so hyped up, and the name recognition and nostalgia that brought it to such astronomical sales and players and all of this different stuff. So COD 2020, there's just no way for it to, live up to that hype. But the other side of the issue is that, there are development issues behind the scenes with COD 2020, and the simple fact is the game is not going to be completely finished. It's not going to be fully fleshed out. It's not going to have maybe all of the modes that it should, all of the content that it should. And this is why, again, this is one possibility here. I'm not saying this is for sure going to be the thing, because I don't know Activision's mindset. I don't know their plans. I don't know how they want to carry this game out to the next couple of years and this year's Call of Duty, and how it all lines up with the success of Modern Warfare. But this tweet here is a pretty big indicator as to what that may mean for the future of Call of Duty 2020. So we intend to build great content for the long haul for Modern Warfare, and great new content coming with Season 2, more surprises to come, he says. So this is the thing that I'm really looking at. We intend to build great content for the long haul. Long haul for me in this instance means that they're going to be bringing us content after the release of Call of Duty 2020, because if they just meant by long haul for the rest of the year, then why would they say that? Because every year, obviously, we're going to get a full year of content and DLC for the year's Call of Duty. That just makes sense. So long haul is saying that, okay, for the long haul, past the usual cycle in which we see DLC for a Call of Duty game, and that would be into Call of Duty 2020, so into 2021. And the reason why that's a big deal is because it seems like Modern Warfare, based on all of its revenue, based on all of its success, and based on them saying that Call of Duty 2020 will simply not sell as well, Modern Warfare will almost be like the primary game still moving into COD 2021, replacing the hype and replacing the actual existence of COD 2020. Like, COD 2020 will still be released, they'll still make money from it, but really Modern Warfare is the main driver as to what Activision wants to fund and how they want to continue bringing Call of Duty to their fans and to new audiences. Just keep on pumping updates into that game, making sure there are more and more microtransactions that people can buy. And this is another reason why, Modern Warfare may still be like the primary COD for COD 2020. Activision says in-game microtransaction sales in Modern Warfare grew by a double-digit percentage versus Black Ops 4. Now, that is a huge deal because Black Ops 4 sold so much and it made so much from its microtransactions, and it infamously had such a terrible microtransaction system and everything behind supply drops, weapons locked behind the crates, just all of this insane stuff, and you could still purchase $20 outfits. Modern Warfare, they got rid of supply drops. They got rid of what we thought was Activision's main source of revenue, and honestly, I think Activision themselves, I remember there was a report that they said they weren't expecting to make as much money because of Modern Warfare's lack of, supply drops and microtransactions like they had in Black Ops 4. So the only microtransactions in Modern Warfare are just the operators and the battle pass, and that's it. And Activision themselves, they weren't expecting to make as much money, and they made so much more money because it's a fair system. And although it's still, you still gotta buy stuff, it's so much better than supply drops, and people appreciate that. So now they're thinking, wait a second, Modern Warfare is making so much money. Call of Duty 2020 is in shambles. The development team for this game is so unclear. It's probably just a mess behind the scenes. Let's just continue to push Modern Warfare. People still like it. I mean, generally, I think the most of the casual audience, obviously, a lot of us on YouTube have so many issues with the game, but that's besides the point. I mean, according to Activision, most of the casual players are playing the hell out of this game. They're enjoying the game. There's no reason for them to shut it down in favor of COD 2020, which is a mess behind the scenes. Now, my main argument for this video is that Modern Warfare is going to be the primary Call of Duty, but it may not be the only Call of Duty that will be taking the place of the hype and the actual investments into COD 2020. So Activision Blizzard CEO says he expects more growth in player base for Call of Duty this year compared to 2019 because of mobile and other unannounced Call of Duty initiatives. So I think the unannounced Call of Duty initiatives is a separate conversation, and for me, I'm looking at that as Battle Royale, because unannounced Call of Duty initiatives, meaning it's not necessarily a Call of Duty game, it's a Call of Duty based initiative. And really, the only other thing I could think of is Battle Royale. Unless they release some sort of remastered of a Call of Duty, I think unannounced Call of Duty initiatives could either be a Battle Royale being released for Modern Warfare, preferably, a remaster of a new Call of Duty, anything like that to be thrown alongside COD 2020. Because again, the simple fact that COD 2020 clearly is having so many issues, and Activision themselves, they just know it's not going to be a game that will stand alone by itself, and they're going to need all this different stuff. Mobile is going to be creating so much revenue. Unannounced Call of Duty initiatives, whatever that is, will create revenue as well, increase player base. And that's just another reason to think that all these other games, all these other streams, these Call of Duty outlets will be almost the primary factors, and then Call of Duty 2020 will just be another one in the bunch. It won't necessarily be the newest Call of Duty that everyone's playing. I mean, probably people are going to buy it and play it, but it's not necessarily going to be that star Call of Duty like the new Call of Duty is every year. When it comes out, we all play it, but this time around, it might be different. So again, last point here that reiterates the point about Modern Warfare being continued into 2020 and 2021. Activision Blizzard says Modern Warfare's new in-game monetization system led to higher engagement and in-game revenue compared to Black Ops 4 first few months. So the first few months of Black Ops 4 sold so much in microtransactions, and Modern Warfare not only, made more revenue, increased the revenue, but also led to higher engagement. So more people are simply engaging with the game. And there was also a stat that came out, I think it was in December, the first 3 months of Modern Warfare had so many active players, within the game. And again, like, I'm talking on YouTube, other YouTubers are talking, mostly hardcore fans are saying, you know, skill-based matchmaking sucks, which it does, and there's different issues in the game and some bugs and whatever, but for the most part, Modern Warfare is such an insane success that it's almost unlikely for Activision to look at COD 2020 and say, oh, this is going to be the main Call of Duty, and Modern Warfare, all of its insane success that we're not going to see with COD 2020, they know for sure it's not going to happen. Why would we throw that away? Why would we just get rid of that? So I think it's clear that Modern Warfare is going to continue into the next year. We're going to see new content. We're probably going to see Battle Royale. I think that could be shifted over to fall at this point. I mean, Battle Royale was supposed to be, you know, early this year, but now that COD 2020 may not be the main game as we think it may be, Battle Royale would make sense to be released around that time. So a lot of different things can be happening here. I'll be talking about it. Let me know what you guys think about this. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm just using the information and I'm making some inferences here as to what they may be doing. And I don't think it's far-fetched that this is a possibility. This whole video, I think, is pretty decent. There's a decent chance that this stuff may happen. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll see you guys later.